Morning all. I'm back for another video today. I thought what I'd show, well first I'll introduce myself. I'm Kerry or Kel, and this is the Creative Crafts with Kel channel. Today I've been playing with the Hearts and Hugs cling stamp bundle. I think these are such cute little animals and they're really good for colouring in. So if you're starting with the Stampin' Blends alcohol markers, they're great for that. But today I've decided to play with pretty much just the dies. All I did was I decided I wanted to play with these standalone dies, and I cut some out and just played around until I was happy with what I came up with. So I'll show you the card quickly that we're going to make. So this is our card here, and I just thought that was a nice generic card. It's got no animals on it, it's just sending a big hug. It can be for so many different things and reasons to send a card. Sending a big hug is a really nice one. I don't know if you can see on the camera, sorry the lighting's really bad today. I've got really bright sun and then really dark shade. I'm not sure if you can appreciate on the camera, but there's some Wink of Stella shimmer on those petals there as well. So this is the card we're going to make today. Like I said, I've only used the flowers, the stems and the grass, and a few of these smaller closed flower dies. That's all I've used on there. And this circle die is, actually I've got to grab that, that's in fact from Spotlight on Nature. So those are from the Spotlight on Nature. These papers is actually the Lily Pond Lane. These are sort of all duck and pond based and things like that, but I really like the B-sides to some of these. Like this is beautiful. I think this would go lovely with the floral, layered florals embossing folder, I think. So yeah, I just really like the B-sides even more so than the landscape, what's the word I'm looking for? Images, if that makes sense. So yeah, I love this gingham. And I mean, you could cut these out and add these on as well. Fussy cutting those. This is just lovely generic patterns. And I've actually run out of this one now because I've used it so much, but this is Pretty Peacock. I think it almost looks Lost Lagoon, but it says it's Pretty Peacock. And this is a 6x6 paper pack, and I really like the colours in it. So it's got Balmy Blue, Granny Apple Green, Grey Granite, Peach Pie, Pretty Peacock and Pretty in Pink. So those are the papers that I've used. So let's get started. I'll move those out of the way. So I started with a thick basic white card. This is 21 by 14.9, scored at 10.5. So we'll just get that burnished. Okay. And then I brought in a layer of Pretty Peacock, which is 10 by 14.4, and then we've got our designer series paper, and that is 9.5 by 13.9. So I'm just going to layer those together. If I could find my seal, there we go. There we go. I really like Pretty Peacock as a colour, and I think if you brighten it up with some brighter colours, it's almost neutral. So then that will go right on there, and it's all very basic to begin with. The fiddly bit, I mean, it doesn't need to be fiddly. The way that I've done it is I've blended the colours using blending brushes onto the die cuts, but you of course don't have to do that. You can die cut that straight out of coloured cardstock. So that's the base of our card. I will need an insert, so let's cut. I'll do 9.5 by 13.9, and that will be for the inside of our card. So I can pop that in now. There we go. So that's the very base of our card done. So now we need to do some die cutting. So I'm going to just going to find the Spotlight on Nature dies. There they are. So we've got the Spotlight on Nature dies, and we've got our Hearts and Hugs dies. Now, I can't remember which one I used. Let's have a look. I think it's this one. Let's just double check. Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to place these down there. I'll cut out this spare one just in case. I did in fact cut out the banner as well, but I didn't use it in the end. Sometimes what I do is I just cut lots of things out, play around until I'm happy with what I've got, rather than having a plan. We're going to die cut this. Okie doke. So I'm just going to go off to the side and use my stamp cut and emboss machine to die cut these out. Now, if you don't know, at the moment the stamp cut and emboss machines, both the large and the mini, are both 10% off at the moment. I've never seen that before with the machines. I've never seen a reduction on them. They're quite the investment, but they're definitely worth it. So if you're interested in investing in those, now would be the time to get the deals. Right. So I'm just going to pop these die cuts out. There we go. This one's still in here. They're all out. So is this one. So bring these across. And we've got all our die cuts ready. And we need this one to be cut out now. There we go. All the bits are already out. I just need to clean that afterwards, make sure all of these come out. So I'm going to put that in my magnetic bowl so that I don't lose them. And I'll put those away later. Okie doke. So the first thing I did was, sometimes with cling stamp sets, I find it difficult because you can't see through them like you can with photopolymer. I find them difficult to get straight. The bonus of doing that on a circle is I can rotate it to make it straight. So I stamped Sending a Big Hug in the top right hand. Well, that wasn't too bad actually, but yeah, so if I did stamp it wonky, I could just straighten that up. So that's what I did there. And now with our die cut pieces, I've got a photopolymer mat. You can get them off of Amazon or anywhere like that. This one, what is this? It's about 6 by 6 inches. And sometimes, rather than cutting from coloured cardstock, because that was one flat colour, I like to cut from white and either use my blends or use my my inks with my blending brushes. So I decided for this one, now the photopolymer mat just sort of holds it down a little bit, so I decided I'd go Granny Apple Green for the base, and I just like it because it sort of gives it an uneven colour, a more natural colour, if that makes any sense. It doesn't take very long either. So let's get my tweezers, because there we go. Right, and then I decided to do Pretty Peacock for the small little buds. These even could be used as little hearts, really. They're not very, you know, obvious to be a flower head, so you could do whatever you wanted with those, really, couldn't you? And you can go up from the bottom, so you get darker at the bottom with the blending brush. Yeah, so those are all done. I think I only used 3 on my card, but we'll have 4 just in case. Okay, and then what did I use after that? I used Petunia Pop. I think I used the wrong blending brush just then. Sometimes I just give them a quick clean on a microfiber or some kitchen roll just to get the main colour off. So this is Petunia Pop, and I thought this was a nice bright colour to bring in for the flowers. There we go. So those were the 3 colours we've used on this card, were Pretty Peacock, Petunia Pop and Granny Apple Green. Just going to move this out of the way. I've got lots of glue and gunk on these tweezers, so it's sticking everything to everything, but I'll clean them after. Now, with the photopolymer mat, it will stain the same as every bit of photopolymer like our stamps, but I just give it a clean with a baby wipe or a microfiber cloth to get off the main. But you can see where I've used the red. Red seems to stain the most, or red base colours. But that's that. And then I just pop the plastic sheet back over it on both sides and pop it away again. But it's very handy. So now we've got our circle and our die pieces. I'm just going to make sure all the centres are popped out. There we go. And I found using glue dots was the easiest option. So these are the glue dots that you can buy from Stampin' Up, the mini ones, and I just sort of rolled them up a little bit and placed them. Got little dots. If you look at the top of this here, they've got little circles at the top for us to add our flowers, so that's quite handy. There we go. It's a bit fiddly, but it's worth it. And then one more. You could of course use liquid glue, it's just this was, believe it or not, less fiddly and a bit quicker. So I wanted my big flower at the top. Now you will feel a bit of sticky through the middle, but we're going to be covering that up with a rhinestone, so I'm not too worried about that. And then I'll have a smaller one there and a smaller one there. Now for placing these in, I chose to bring these in. You don't really need to, but I chose to just because I wanted a bit of the Lost Lagoon colour to come back in. Not Lost Lagoon, Pretty Peacock, to come back to come into it because of the background. So all I did was dabbed a bit of glue onto my glass mat and grab a strip of glue. Actually, I didn't even need a strip in the end. I grabbed this and I just tapped it in and I tucked it under wherever I fancied, wherever I thought looked quite nice. And there we go. And get another one, just a small bit. That's way too much glue I've put on there to start with, but that's all right. And I thought we'd tuck this one near the leaf, and then we'll get our third one. Let's get a little bit more glue, and we could tuck this one just there. It just brings the colour of the paper into our focal point. Right, so there's our little bunch of flowers. I didn't need that one in the end. And I decided for a bit of texture, because I thought that looked a bit plain, I would bring in, where have I put it? Some white twine that's now disappeared. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I brought some white twine in and just some regular Scotch tape to hold it in place behind. So I've sort of hold that down so that you can start. Make sure you've got your circle straight with regards to your greeting. Sorry, I'm losing my words today. And then when you've decided you're happy where everything is, you can just chop that off, and that can go back there. Oh. And can be sellotaped down. I should have probably made that a little bit longer, but we'll be all right. There we go. So now we've got a bit of texture on there. Okay, pop that away. Now we just need to decide where we want this to go. So I quite like it hanging off the edge, and what I did was I put 2 glue dots on here because these were touching the string, the twine. I put a foam pad behind there and a bit of foam behind there. So let's have a little look. I've got some strips here, Stampin' Up sells strips of foam as well, which can be very handy for small thin places. So I'm going to put a little bit on the bottom of our grass, and I'm going to put a little bit on the back of our first top flower. Pop that back on the backing, and then I'm going to get some glue dots and pop those on the back of our other flowers. Oh, I've finished my glue dots, have I? Yes, I have. Have I got any more? Let's have a look. Yeah, there's some more. Okay. So, put that there. And obviously this is sticking to the mat because of the centre of the flowers, but that's okay for now. And we'll take off the backing of our foam, and then we decide where we want it. So I tend to use the grid on either your paper or your glass mat so that you're greeting straight, and then place these down. And there we go. And if you're not happy with it, you've got a minute or two to shift it around. Let's have a look. Is that straight? I can't really tell. I look at things for so long that I can't tell anymore. Right, I think we're okay. Okay. So what I did then was I got some basic rhinestone basic jewels, and I used the smallest of them, and I put those in the center of our flowers just to bring a bit of bling into the card, because who don't love a bit of bling. And then the final touch was my wink of Stella. So like I said on the video, I don't know that you can see the sparkle, but just trust me, it's there. And sometimes it comes flying out and I'm not prepared, so I'm trying to be careful. But yeah, it just brings a little bit of sparkle, and I think that's so lovely. There we go. And now we're just going to put some foam pads on the back of our die cut circle. Now let's have a look where that's going to be. Okay. There we go. And we bring in our base and just stick that down. Remember, it doesn't matter what the back looks like, no one's going to see it, so as long as it's got everything secured down, it's all good. And there's our finished card. So that's what we made today, using just the die cuts from the Hearts and Hug bundle, which bundles actually at the moment as well, between the 5th and 30th of June, bundles are currently 10% additional off, because every bundle in the catalogue that's together is already 10% off when you buy it, but at the moment it's an additional, so you'll currently get 20% off all bundles. Hearts and Hugs is one of them, so you can get a massive deal on that too. And like I said, I just used the die cuts. I didn't and one stamped greeting. I didn't use any of the images of the critters, and I'm really happy with that. So I'll be sending these out to cheer somebody up soon. Take care. Bye bye.